Welcome to your High Vibe Business. I'm Laura DeFranco.
And I'm Donnie Bovine.
And we are here to help you create your badass high vibe business.
What does it mean to have a high vibe business? It's that business you're excited about. It lights you up and it helps you unleash that inner badass and really go for it.
You are a lover and a warrior, and you're here to change the world with your business. We will give you the strategy and resources you need to take this all to the next level.
You shouldn't do this alone. Start hanging out with other badass entrepreneurs and watch how fast your business grows.
You guys, Donnie Bovine runs a successful coaching and speaking business, and he's spent over 2 decades mastering sales.
And Laura DeFranco is an expert healer, 2 times business owner, 6-time published author, and spoken word poet.
Together, we're here to help you create your high vibe business. Hey everybody, today we're talking about sales, and I don't want to hear you moan about that because we're going to reframe this. This is going to be about business development, and this is going to be a total fucking game changer for you guys. The whole conversation today, I'm so super excited about this. I wanted to start with one of the awesome reviews we got on the podcast recently from Sassy Sarah 13. Is titled Down to Earth and Amaze Balls. You gotta love that, right?
Awesome.
This dynamic duo is on fire with their first episodes. They do not hold back any information and give it to you straight. I love the fact that they admit they have had bad moments just like everyone else. The topics are informative and totally helpful to businesses in general. This is refreshing take on making the most out of your business. I can't wait to see what these two come up with next. Thank you, Miss Sassy Sarah 13.
That's awesome.
So start us off, Donnie.
All right, guys. So strap it in because for me, this is my favorite topic in the world. I grew up in the sales game, and when Sarah... I just saw Sarah when Laura and I. Wow,
Sassy Sarah.
Yeah,
I'm
sassy
not
Sarah.
sassy.
I know, sassy. We're talking about it. But when Laura and I really sat down, one of the things she hit me with is the healers have never been taught how to do the business development, the sales side of their business, and a lot of people have this kind of bad vibe with this whole thought process and things. So my entire goal here is to break this down so simple that you can wrap your head around and really embrace it's okay to have a sales conversation. It's okay to do the business development activities. And what you're doing is actually healing others by getting them to invest in themselves. So that's where my focus is. So here's how I want to start. When you think of sales, if you're going negative, your mindset is already low vibe. We've got to change that. We've got to kick that up. Sales is nothing more than a conversation. It is a conversation between 2 people that has an outcome. Go back and listen to that again because that's it. When you put anything else to sales, you're taking it out of context. It is not bad. It is not evil. It is not something that is taking advantage of somebody else. With what we're doing in the healing space is we're teaching people that by investing in themselves, they can go further. We invest in ourselves when we meditate. We invest in ourselves when we journal and write. This is investing in themselves to shortcut whatever they're trying to learn with your healing practice and service. Allow them to honor you by investing in what you do. And then we'll talk about a whole bunch of different things. But Laura, your 2 cents.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I'm like sitting here and I'm thinking about at least 5 different ways to roll with everything you just said. So first of all, if you guys are like me, you're a licensed healthcare practitioner. I'm a physical therapist, right? So PT, OT, doctor, psychologist, anybody who went into this game to help people feel better. Okay, and then I'm going to also include all the healers, the energy workers, the life coaches, all of the people who are claiming themselves as a healer in this world and have a business to help people, mind, body, and soul. your degree and or your training usually did not include one little iota of marketing or business. That was a whole nother degree that none of us had time to go get, right? And so we're popping out of our physical therapy school or whatever kind of school we finished, and we're got our degree and we're ready to go into our practice. And maybe some of us were brave right away, went into opening up our own business. I did not. I worked for a lot of people before I decided that was the move I was going to make. And when I made it, I had nothing. I had nothing about the marketing or the business background. And so selling was torture. It was literal torture for me. I ended up going into doctors' offices and trying to pass my business cards to people. And I would just be like staring at my toes, and the confidence level was way, way down. But I had, like you guys, amazing gifts to share with the world. I had a lot of skill and knowledge. I was making people feel better. And word of mouth referral, you guys, while it is super awesome, and yes, you will have tons of it, it's not enough.
Yeah.
You're going to need to move beyond just a word of mouth, and you're going to need to open your mouth and start talking to people. And that's what I want to reframe today. It's a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny. I love that you talked about your struggle at the beginning, because a lot of people look at me when I talk and they're like, you must have been a rock star since you started. Well, let me clarify that really quick. That's not the truth at all. My first real fun sale was to my mom. I was selling commercial
Mom, I
printing.
love you, Mom.
She's so awesome. But I literally was selling her, well, really her company, business cards, right? Because I was selling commercial printing. I walk up and mom is like, okay, give me a price on business cards. I'm like, cool, here's a price. Mom looks right back at me and goes, no, that's way too expensive. I'm like, Mom, I'm selling you business cards. She's like, I'm not paying that. My
You
own
couldn't
mom.
even sell to
I couldn't
mom.
sell
Darn it.
I had to go back to my company and go, can we do anything about this price? Because my mom won't buy these. Right.
That's awesome.
So what I want you to realize is it took me quite a while to really get my legs under me and get me comfortable with it, because nobody taught me how to do sales. I'm self-taught all the way through. Books, tapes, and like I like to say, getting punched in the face by life, because I put myself out there and I learned and I learned and I learned, and I created systems for me. I created a process for myself. But it all comes down to simply this: when you're in sales, it's about showing up as who you are every day. I mean, because when I was doing sales, I thought I had to act a certain way because that's what I saw successful salespeople doing. I thought I had to dress a certain way because that's what successful salespeople did. I thought I had to drive the certain cars. You know, I thought I had to be this whole different person. And all it did was cause me chaos and struggle, because not only was I trying to lie to the prospects about who I was as a person, internally I was in this turmoil because I wasn't showing up authentically as part of this process. So what I want you guys to think about is, the more you show up just as you are when you're talking and engaging and interacting with people, don't put on the second face. You know, don't become somebody else. You're going to be blown away by how deep and authentic those conversations go, and how more people want to raise their hand and say, can we work together?
Definitely. And you're not going to look like the 100 other people that just walked in their door. You are going to be the one that stands out just by being your authentic self. People are so wrapped up in all of the rules and the shoulds and the supposed tos, like Donnie said, down to the way that you dress when you walk in the office. Holy moly. In the, I mean, the physical therapy world, you guys, do you guys remember the Easter egg polo shirt and the khaki pants uniform, right? And as a manager of some of those PT clinics, I was told, go out, bring bagels to the doctors. Like, this was sales for me. This is how I learned my process, right? So when I opened up my own business and I wasn't working for those people who were telling me what to do, things shifted a little bit, and I went door to door and I still tried to talk to people. I didn't have the full confidence, but I was shaking hands. My business card went in their hands. This is what I have to offer. And the business moved to a six-figure business with me going out and actually talking to people. Had I really had some of the skills that Donnie and I are going to talk to you guys about, I truly believe that I could have scaled probably times 10 in that business.
Mm.
I didn't know the questions to ask. I didn't know how to be myself. I was following this rule from somebody else telling me what to do. If I had walked into some of those offices as brave healer, as Laura DeFranco, as the author, as the poet, as the badass, they would have been like, whoa, who are you? You're fun to talk to. Like, and I want to say one thing about that process. The best thing I learned about this was this is how I was going to make that person look good.
Mm.
So like I was going to help them build their business. And in terms of the doctor patient thing, which I know a lot of you guys are getting referrals for your businesses, and this is how you're working the business. Many of you, not all of you. But if I could figure out how to make that client so happy that they went back to the doctor and said, you got to send more people there, then that was gold.
Yeah, I love that. I
Yeah.
think we're going to do this in a couple of episodes. 'Cause
I
got so
know,
many
I'm
things.
thinking the same thing. Yeah.
So I want to get a little bit tactical for you guys. So, because we've talked about, the mental state and everything else, but I think the number one question I get when you're talking business development, you're talking sales, you're talking anything, is how do you start the conversation? And so I want to give you one really, really cool, easy, tactical thing that you can do when you're sitting down to have a sales conversation. And it's one question. And this is how I love starting off every meeting that I have that's a sales conversation. It's simply this: what makes this a good meeting for you? What are you hoping to accomplish today?
What
And
a
when you,
great question.
yeah, because when you start off that way, the magic happens. And what I mean by the magic is they're going to tell you exactly what they're hoping to accomplish, what they need, what information they're looking for. And it opens up a dialect because you're not sitting there looking at them and go, here's my brochure. This is what I do. And you're beating them over the head with your information. You're affording them the opportunity to talk and say, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I need.
And don't you think that same question could be used in so many different scenarios? Use it on your discovery calls, use it with current clients. Let's say you have somebody coming in for a session and you start your session with, what would make this today the best session ever for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you shut your mouth and listen hard, because they will tell you exactly what you need to do to make it that for them.
Yep.
Right? So we can talk about this in so many different ways. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. And here's the thing, guys. In these conversations, when you get there, they're precious, they're awesome, they're authentic, they're real, they're raw, they're just you, right? Shut up. And what I mean by that is I, as a sales trainer for many years, I would go right along with junior salespeople, helping them teach them the sales process. And so it would be interesting as we'd go on a sales call. I'd go as a sales guy in training, so they didn't know they had a sales trainer with them, and as I was riding along. And these young salespeople would go in and they would verbally vomit all of their knowledge, all of their craft, all their stuff over these prospects, and then walk out wondering what the heck happened during this conversation. Guys, the power in a sales conversation is by asking questions. It's about getting them to open up and talk to you.
Okay, I have a devil's advocate question for you on that. So I had a perfect example the other day of the discovery call. Right away, she wanted me to tell her all about my programs. And I'm like, okay, I didn't even get a chance to ask that first question or to start to ask questions. She's like, okay, tell me right away about that book coaching program. And I'm like, okay, so do you go ahead and do it? Do you only do a tiny bit and then shut up? What do you do with that?
Nope. You take control of the conversation. So in that situation, when somebody says, and you're basically like, hello, and they're like, cool, tell me about your programs. Go, hold on. I really appreciate that energy and that vibe, but I like following a process that allows this to be a great conversation, and I make sure you get everything that you need out of this conversation. So are we okay if we start here? What
Mm.
are you hoping to get out of this meeting? And what that does is it mentally lets them know, okay, this person is equal business stature with me.
Nice. You guys, are you listening to this? Because I know if you're like me, you have made the mistake that I made the other day,
Yeah,
that
because
I
I
just went for it.
you did.
I'm
You went
like, okay, yeah, because they were asking and I should answer the question because, right? So I actually think this is sales 102 or 3, this thing you're talking about.
and probably so. Probably so.
Yeah.
So because I want to get into at some point why you should answer every question with a question,
Uh-huh.
because it really changes the dynamics of it. So like with that gal started off with you, or that person started off with you, I assume it was a woman, sorry. Comes to you and says, hey, tell me about your program. My response really quickly is, hey, that's a great question. Why are we starting there? Could we start in a different direction? And what it
Mm-hmm.
does is just change, control of the conversation over and allows that dynamic to move, right? As
Yeah,
all the way through.
totally.
So let's do that deep dive, maybe the next episode. This
Definitely.
one, let's talk about how do you actually get to that sales conversation, right? How do you get to that point of where somebody wants to raise their hand and say, hey, let's do something. For me, a lot of times it's all about having as many conversations as I can have. So I set a goal every day is, can I get into 10 conversations today? And I want to get into 10 conversations with my ideal client. Now, these may not be sales conversations. Okay. Let me clarify that. I just want conversations, because if you have conversations with people, people will start raising their hand. And when I say raising their hand, guys, is at some point they're going to go, hey, can we talk further about what you do for a product or service? Can we talk about what it would look like to work with you and move forward? So what I'm going in is I'm treating every conversation, like you guys in your world would call it, like a discovery call. Did you hear that? Is every conversation for me, whether they intend it or not, is a discovery call, because I want to qualify that individual. Should we schedule another meeting to actually have a sales conversation, right? Can I help this person? And it's coming from a service-based mentality of, how can I get in and get to know as much as I possibly can about this person? And the mind shift thing that I did for myself to understand how can I go learn about this person is, I go in with that initial sit down setting and go, how do I learn enough in this moment that I can refer them the exact type of client that they need to help grow their business or whatever they're doing? And when you go in to understand how you open doors for them,
I love that. You need to repeat that.
yeah, you go in to understand how you can open doors for them, how you can make a referral for them.
Of
What
the
the
exact right, perfect client.
Absolutely.
And you need information to be able to do that.
100%. And that's what allows you to go in and start asking all the empowering questions. It allows you to start asking all the things that you need to know so you can open doors for them. And you're going to find out, guys, when you're the person asking all the questions to understand, it's going to open up so many things. I love it when I get done with the conversation and they're like, holy cow, you're an amazing conversationalist. And I haven't said anything throughout the entire call, right? I got them talking about their world. And when you go in from that perspective of how can I open doors, you're going to be amazed that most people haven't been talked to this way, because most people talk at you, not with you. So you're going in to really understand that connection and that point of jiving with them and getting to know them
Yes.
to where they want to know more.
This is a game changing mindset shift that I promise you guys, if you do it this week, today, if you just even shoot for 1 or 2 of these kinds of conversations today after you listen to this podcast, things will shift for you. You go in for information about sending them the perfect referral. Your whole mindset around it's just sales is just a conversation with an outcome. It's just getting to know the person to the level that you could refer. How badass is that, you guys? It's going to change everything for you. I
And
love that.
thank you. It comes from this whole thing of, as I was figuring out sales and growing up in the sales game, I thought I won by giving out all the information. I thought I won by being the expert. And it's
Yep.
just the opposite. You don't win by being the expert. You win by coming up with the right questions that helps them discover, hence the discovery call, more about what they need, what they want. And then if you help them get what they need and what they want, that sales conversation becomes so simple.
It'll be almost automatic. It'll
Absolutely.
just be easy.
I don't
Yes.
really think that there's a close. And let me hear this with me, guys. There's not a close in a sales transaction. There's an agreement to move forward, right? There's an agreement that what they need and what I have is a fit, right? And then you can move that conversation forward.
Nice. I think we're going to have a series 2 and 3
Yep.
on sales and business development for obvious reasons, you guys. There are steps where we are going from, do this and then you'll get this. And there's lots of scenarios in between. I know that I have gotten caught up in and not really known what that next step would be in a conversation that went that way or that way or that way. And I know that Donnie's going to help us get so much more clarity about this. And then it's about getting out there and doing the work and practicing. Practice. As far as how many conversations can you have this week, make it like a goal for yourself. Set a goal and just get the numbers. It's a numbers game.
Yeah, totally. And guys, I know we talk about your High Vibe Business Facebook group, but I will tell you, I dive into this stuff all the time in that group. I'm helping people have these conversations and everything else. And that's why we created a group. So you can get some of that intimate one-on-one time with me as we go through this, get some intimate one-on-one time with Laura as we talk about all these things in that group. I promise you should really come hang out in there. It's a lot of fun. But we're going to wrap this one up and we're going to do a couple more episodes on business development and sales. But if you got any value out of this episode whatsoever, would you do me a favor and share it with a friend, just one person that may need to hear this message? And then wherever you're listening to this, if you could leave us a review, that just means the world to us. And I really appreciate it.
Greatly appreciate that, you guys. And you're ready to take everything to the next level, pop on to yourhighvibebiz.com and you can read all about the online mastermind, some in-person meeting things in Maryland, and even a coaching option with Donnie and I.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
See ya.